this thing. It just That is frustrating.
Mm.
They're saying there's no sound. Okay, that worries me.
How do we
Okay,
change
check
that?
one. Check one. Check one. Is anyone listening? Can they hear me? Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me.
What did you do different from last time to today?
There shouldn't be anything. Oh, okay. Now there's sound. Oh my gosh.
You guys
We
just
had
missed
some
a great
good
conversation.
shit going there, and nobody heard it. Oh my.
Wow.
Okay,
We got a
well,
lot of
let's
time
just
left.
back up. Oh, geez. I'm so sorry, listeners.
Oh,
Well,
embarrassing.
we have to start over. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's back it
We
up.
can recap it. It's fine.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe it's probably a good thing because now we can just condense all of the stuff we just said. Okay, so hi.
Hello.
Welcome, Bridge.
I'm
Bridge
Terry.
here, and you are listening to KISS Recovery 101. Oh, we were just having a good conversation with ourselves, Terry.
Yeah,
So I would like to welcome my guest, Terry.
How you doing, Bridge?
Hi.
Hey, audience.
So we were just talking a little bit about, well, our weekend, but we can just go right into where I think it was really making some good words there.
Yeah.
What your weekend looked like. And you said you did service work at 2218.
Yes.
And you are a front desk greeter,
Mm-hmm.
which is so huge because
Very
you're
simple.
catching that person that walks right in and may have never been there before.
Yeah.
May have never been to a place like that before.
Yeah.
And I know when I was doing sitting at the desk, I could really feel someone walk in, just their face, the intimidation that can be there.
Yeah.
So would you like to, let's just talk about again what you do when someone comes in. And a lot of times they will, I find that a lot, and that was me. Like I'd walk in, I wouldn't even look at you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had lots of social anxiety. I was antisocial for a long time. So just saying hello.
Yes, agreed.
What do you do when people walk
So
in?
to recap again, I have a fun time at the front desk. It's very, I feel like it's simple because it forces me out of my comfort zone. And I was telling Bridge, like, I am a very shy person originally, but I'm super outgoing because I need that in my life. So, me, for instance, at the front desk, and I find this with a lot of people that I work with, just saying hello, good morning. I know today, Sunday morning, super cold, people walking in, good morning, how are you? How's your day? And I actually got to meet new people. And for me, it is very nervous. Like, I'll be honest with you, I'm a bigger black guy. Brand new at 2218. There's a lot of older white men, and I mean, I don't know what they're thinking or anything like that, but it does give me a little bit of uncomfort. But that ice is broken when you greet somebody.
As soon as someone says
your
hi.
character's right there, like,
And smiling.
And all that fear and anxiety goes away. And first of all, it's great service work. You get to know people. You get to check out meetings. Like it's a good time. Like I'm not doing it for any like case or legal reason or any of that, which is fine. But I do it because it does keep me sober and it keeps me knowing new people. I get a bigger support network. I get to meet new people. It's a great opportunity, and I think everybody should get involved. Like you were saying earlier, making coffee, setting up chairs, it's great, but immersing yourself in service work and doing things like volunteering, and I know we have a lot of events and stuff, like they need that volunteer work so everybody can find an opportunity to do that. So I think it's great for my recovery.
Because you care.
Yeah.
Like
simple.
I know for me, I just want to give back.
Yes.
You know, give back. For years, I was taking, and I needed that. Yeah. I needed those people that made coffee, but more, I needed the person that would say hello to me.
Yeah.
Because like we were saying before, a lot of times I'd walk into places and you don't know where I came from. You don't know what my situation was. A lot of times I didn't have anyone in my life.
Yeah.
So that was me. Just walking in the door was me trying to make connections and opening myself up. But I was, I definitely had my defense wall up.
Yes.
But someone like you that I come and you greet me, and B, just take a few moments to like help me find a fit for me,
Hmm.
show me where I need to go. I don't forget that.
Yes.
And that kept me coming back,
Mhm.
just knowing I got this safe place that I can go where there's people like me,
Yes.
people that
A
might
lot of
get me
people
a
like
little
you.
bit and not judge me.
Mhm.
I think that's huge too.
Yes. And let's not say it's always going to be rainbows and sunshines. I found a lot of meetings where there was some judgmental people, there was looking, but that's the blessing about finding different meetings and finding different places to go.
Trying
You can go to a different place. There's so many meetings in Minnesota. Like, we have a great opportunity up here in the recovery community. People understand we have it good up here. Like places like Florida and Texas and down south places, they don't have the resource that we have. And I think that's a great connection. And it's kind of sad that those people don't have it. So that means we should be taking a great opportunity and don't take that for granted, how much of a blessing it is just to go out and find a new meeting. Like every single day there's meetings somewhere.
Yes,
Well,
and I definitely promote. You go to one, someone rubs you a wrong way, or you go to another one, you're just not feeling it. Do another one. You
exactly.
do not have to stick to one just because I had to change my meetings.
Several
I got
times.
too complacent. I'll say it, like I got bored,
Mhm.
or just the same things were being said. I didn't feel like I was learning or growing. It wasn't anyone's fault.
No.
That was within me. But as soon as I started to really want more information, more knowledge, a key piece was going to different places,
Yep.
going to different meetings, and now Zoom, that's all over the place.
Yes.
So that helps too. But let's talk about you, Terry.
Okay.
So one of the questions I like to ask is, what does recovery look like for you?
Okay. So I just a little backstory. I am a heroin addict and a meth addict, newly meth addict. And that was about 14 years ago when I first tried that hard substance. So, and I didn't even know what recovery was. I didn't think I was an addict until about 7 years when withdrawal started becoming my main problem. And I'm just using the drugs to not be sick. So my first treatment, I'm learning all this new stuff and like, oh my God, they have all this. And I didn't understand it and I didn't want it. So it took years and years of back and forth treatments, up and down, to finally got it. Like, I understand that trying to do it alone, trying to do it by myself, trying to do it without
never mind that distraction. I'm just kind of power back on in a minute. Keep going.
Trying to do that without a support system for me is very impossible. Like, I'm a very stubborn person. I was raised by Leos. I have all Leos in my family.
I'm a Leo,
yeah,
Terry.
so I can understand that. Like,
I get it.
Yeah, so I have that sense of like, if I can't control it, then what the hell? Like, it's pissing me off. But I found that every time I come back to recovery, I've probably tried recovery 7 times. This is the first full time that I've taken it seriously, and I still had a relapse about a month ago. So it's something you got to keep an eye on every single day.
Oh yeah.
Every moment. Like,
and it can creep up so quickly.
Oh, God. Not even the stressful times.
No, for good times.
Yes, it's crazy.
Oh, I could find it. I would have a reuse for all kinds of reasons. And a lot of them for me was situational, but also a lot of it was just within me and how I handled urges or whatever. If I'm really happy or I'm really sad or I'm really angry, like I could find a reason for anything.
Yeah.
So, I want to try to be mindful of time. I just want to warn everyone, we try to stay within an hour, but if we go over, feel free to tune out, turn it off, but we're not sticking to this. It has to be done in an hour. I like to go with the flow.
It's a talk, and hopefully you learn something from it, from listening to you, listening to myself, like in the audience. I mean, I implore people to ask questions. I'm a very open book. And I was talking to Bridge before that. It's like lying and not being your authentic self was so much a part of my life that I can't do it anymore. It hurts to not tell the truth or not be honest about a situation, and I just don't give a fuck what people think about me. So
and you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And definitely getting just the courage. And now I actually have kid about me being a dummy because, that's how I learn.
Yeah.
Is asking questions and making mistakes.
Mhm.
And now I use it as like not only like to challenge myself, because when I accomplish any small feats, it gives me more confidence.
Oh God.
And it gives me more like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Go ahead, do it again. Ask
Yes.
another question,
Yes.
because those answers that stick in and I connect with and make sense, it helps me up that level of, just life
Yeah.
and knowledge. And for me, connecting with people where they're at is so important.
Hmm.
So, well, I wanted to play a quick clip. So there's this wonderful, well, first let's talk about the main path that we're focusing on this week.
Hmm.
So there's clinical paths, there's non-clinical paths, there's so many paths.
Spiritual.
Spiritual. And I think that just trying to figure out what works for you, you got to test and trial and error,
All day.
And so one of the ones that I liked that kind of ties into this willpower instinct that we'll talk about is ACT, which stands for Acceptance and Commitment Therapy. That's a clinical path. I really love any cognitive, dialectical behavior therapy. I like any of those because for me, I needed answers. I needed to understand why I have these thoughts, why my brain does these things. I knew I was different, and I don't like when people are like, you're not unique. It doesn't mean I didn't think I was unique at all.
Yeah.
I thought I'm different, and in a sense of nobody could be as far up as I am. Like, it was a negative. It wasn't like I'm a unique, special person. I thought I'm like this only person with these problems.
I'm alone.
And no one will understand
me. No one can relate to me.
It wasn't like I thought I was special. Oh, I'd be special in a not good way. I don't know. I need some help.
Exactly.
But one thing, so let me describe what ACT is. It says, the goal of ACT is to consistently act in effective ways to become empowered by values and personal goals, even when facing difficult or disruptive inner experiences. And they got 3 that are main things. I'll read through them real quick, just so it all ties together. Maybe something jumps out at you, Terry. You just interrupt me after I read these 3.
I got you.
So number 1, it is human nature and thus understandable that people tend to avoid negative inner experiences. Would you agree with that, Terry?
Yes, very much. I think it's the champion in all of us, like that heart. Like, I'm not.
There's our first alarm.
Oh,
but we're good. That's just being mindful of time. Keep going.
Yes. That like, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't have faults. You kind of want to shy away from that because I think a lot of us are brought up to be, and it's sad because there's people who aren't brought up to be their best selves, and then you see that inner negative or those faults, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, why can't I be great? And why am I saying that? It's true, but it's not a handicap.
Right.
Yes.
It can be overcome.
Yes, easily.
If you want it.
Exactly.
You can't be forced to do it. I couldn't be told to do these things.
Exactly.
Maybe in the back of my mind, I knew I needed to make some changes. But you telling me that, I'm going to do the opposite.
Authority
times
complex.
10.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
That's how I used to be, right? But I like how it says it's just human nature. It's human nature and completely understandable that we want to avoid negative feelings. I don't want to feel like shit.
I don't want to feel at all sometimes.
I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to feel nervous. I don't want to feel angry. So for me, self-medicating was my go-to.
Oh God.
Numbing that shit out.
I don't want to
feel no feelings.
Yeah. I didn't know any other way, to be honest.
True. Very true. And I tried other things that were acceptable, but no one believed me when I said these things aren't working. But let's jump into number 2. So number 2, it says clarity of personal values and commitment are keys to behavior change. And we'll get into that when we can talk about this willpower thing, okay? And then number 3, rather than fighting the feeling attached to a behavior, a person can observe having that feeling, but still act in a way not directly influenced by the feeling. And what I've heard in the rooms a lot is name it. what I say to myself is I tell on myself.
Yeah.
I tell on myself. If something don't feel right, just even a thought that I had, and I didn't act on it and it didn't stick in there. If it pops up in a meeting, I tell on myself. I say, it was weird. I went by this place. I was in this, okay, somebody said something, I smelled something, and I had a thought.
Yeah.
That thought stayed there. But I like to tell other people about it because I'm telling on myself.
Exactly.
And I'm not keeping it in my head.
And you're not the only one who might be thinking that same exact thing. Yeah.
Right. And then I can just saying it out loud is important.
Oh God.
Because a lot of things go on in my brain, Terry.
Yes.
And if they stay there, and sometimes they'll stay there. And what was wonderful when I was doing DBT, and she would do these charts on a board of all where I could see my downward spirals. The one where that seed planted, where that thought planted, I never would have thought that it would go to where it went to. But one thought triggered something, and because I didn't address it, because I didn't talk about it, I just buried it and disassociated with it, distracted. Oh, I'm really good at distracting myself. It built up, and one thing on top of one thing on top of one thing, another situation, another person, it led back to that first thought. So now any negative thoughts like that isn't typical for me nowadays, especially, I just name it.
My question would be, when do you act on the thought or take a thought so seriously? There's sometimes I get those thoughts and we're like, is it that big of a deal? And that could be my inner addict. That can be my inner person trying to push down things. I'm a big feelings guy. I feel like you should express your feelings all the time. If you're mad, say you're fucking mad. If you're sad, say you're sad. If you don't want to be talked to, say that. If you're happy, show that. You can show your feelings and be very outgoing about how you feel and what you think in a positive way, in a respectful way, in a way that doesn't hurt other people. Now, acting on those feelings and being an asshole, that could really, mess up a situation for you and a lot of other people. But I'm super big feelings guy. I'm like, if I'm feeling sad and I don't want to do something today, then I can put on, I kind of draw back because I can put on airs and say, if it's best for the community for me to be happy at that time, I will do it. But if I'm truly struggling and feeling bad, I will talk about it. But B, like, I do have to start understanding or learning what is that little thought that might draw out those feelings that are gonna lead back to something that I'm not gonna like at all. So
and that's key. Like, our brain, we can't control the thoughts. Our brain has like 1,000 thoughts in a day, right? And of course, early in my recovery, they weren't thoughts that I wanted. When I know that I've crossed over, I'd say that those thoughts, that's what they are now. But before, they were cravings. They were urges. That's how I knew I still had the obsession. And I had to have a conversation with people because, I'd still have these thoughts. I'd talk about it. I'd name it just to say, oh, am I going down the road? But it was great because the obsession part of it was lifted because now I see these thoughts as just thoughts. I will always have those thoughts. But the awareness piece is huge. But we're going to jump into, just because I want to try to be mindful of time, I want to jump into that clip. Because being aware, but acting on where you're at. So you can talk the talk, but it's so key to walk the walk.
The action stage.
Yes. Whatever the saying is, faith without works is that. It don't work. Like, at the end of all of our meetings, we say whatever to wrap it. And we always say it works if you work it.
Yes.
And that's so true. So
simple.
Let me grab this real quick. I have to power on. Hang on.
Yes.
But I have it set up and it's just like a 1.5-minute clip.
Power on.
Nice.
So I like when I get, sorry about that. When I get time to read.
Bluetooth connected.
Oh, thanks.
Thank
Bluetooth
you.
connected.
Okay, we know this now.
This little speaker is verbal. I like it. It's called The Willpower Instinct. And the author is Kelly, I want to say McGonigal. Sorry, Kelly, but not saying it.
I cannot read, so I'm not doing it.
She does the science of willpower. And I love her basic theory is there's 3. I will, I want, or I won't. Of those 3, the I want is key. That's sunk in.
Yeah.
And okay, so she's going to explain them, and then I'll go into just the basis of that. But basically, willpower is, according to her in this book, and I just, if you get a chance, go on YouTube, Google her,
It was a very nice.
search her up.
It was short, and it was really actually really good.
To the point now.
Yes.
And she's done, I think she's done TED Talks. I found this book before all that, but she's wonderful.
Yeah.
But she says willpower is about harnessing the 3 powers, which we'll talk about, and help us to be a better version of ourselves. So what matters most to you? So play this quick clip, because she, I try to be smart, Harry, but if I try to like vomit out what they said the way they meant it, it
might
sounds
not come off.
confusing.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give Kelly a bad name.
I want to
Okay,
give her full props.
so here we go. It says it's connected. I'm going to give it a try.
Bear with us.
I like to think of willpower as having 3 powers. I will, I won't, and I want. And we tend to think, when we think about willpower, we think of this classic example of resisting a temptation. I won't eat that chocolate, or I won't buy that thing that's out of my budget. I won't smoke that cigarette, or I won't say that thing that'll get me into trouble. And that's just one aspect of willpower. It really is the ability to recognize when you're about to do something that is inconsistent with your goals or values and literally put on the brakes. So that's I won't power. But we also need the ability to take action in the direction of our goals and values. The ability to say yes to things that maybe are boring or uncomfortable. An example of that, which I call I will power, would be something like being willing to stay on the treadmill for another 5 minutes, even though your legs are saying they're tired, or your brain is telling you this is boring and I'd rather do something else. Do you have the motivation and the energy to keep going, even in the face of fatigue or boredom? And the thing that supports both of those strengths is this last power that I call I want power. And that is the ability to actually walk around in the world with a sense of what your core goals and values are, rather than allowing sort of the universe to impose on you its own agenda. So much about daily life is we get interrupted on our devices. Somebody wants this, and it's an emergency, go do that. And so our schedule and our agenda can get hijacked in that way. We go into a store, we go into a restaurant, and people want to sell us things that are not healthy for us or go beyond our budget. And we have to really be able to interact with the world with a key sense of what it is we care about and what matters most to us. And that is a skill that can be strengthened as much as the I won't power of resisting impulses and the I will power of taking positive action.
Okay.
She touched on a lot of key things.
Okay, I'm just going to speak first because I know I'll forget.
Go ahead.
And then I'm going to have you respond as well. So the first thing that jumped out to me was a core value, or something that I really wanted. I wanted the desire to stop drinking and using.
Mhm.
I wanted that so bad. I wanted to stay sober, but I was a chronic reuser. I had many reoccurrences. In 17 years, I can't even count. I cannot even count. And I thought, it's me.
Mhm.
It's my fault. I've always blamed myself. When I decided, when all distractions, anything, well, at one point, the only thing that mattered to me was my kids.
Mhm.
And so when that was taken out of my life, I decided that that's it. Like, I understood, because I always thought it was selfish.
Yeah.
I thought it would be selfish to put myself first and my recovery first. I heard that in the rooms all the time. You need to put yourself first. You need to put recovery first. But for me, my kids were the only thing that mattered to me. And I always tried to put them, I thought it's selfish. No, my kids come first, period.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, when all the shit hit the fan, I lost my kids.
Mhm.
And so now I look at it as a good thing. Yes, I never thought I'd be saying that, but it forced me to give a shit about myself.
Exactly.
It forced me to understand, if I don't put myself first and if I don't put my recovery first, I will have nothing else.
Yeah.
And especially the people and the things that matter most, none of that will be there if I go use tomorrow. Like,
Yes.
I can tell you that right now. Like, I don't mean to scare people, but I do tell some of my closest friends, if something happened, if I ever go back, make that choice to go do research, go do that again, you won't find me.
Yeah.
you will not find me, because I know that's a death sentence for me. And if for whatever reason, I can't see a reason right now, but that reason, that's my death sentence.
Yeah.
So, and I take that very seriously, and I'll make light of it. My friend John
You
was
got
like,
to.
well, Bridge, I do know where you live. So if you start
I'll
to
find
disappear,
you.
I'm going to come at your door.
Exactly.
I'm like, John, don't make me go there, but like, you won't find me. There'll be a reason.
It'll
But
never
for
get to that
you-
point, though, I would hope.
And for you, Terry, like, what out of what she said, what would you respond? How would you respond? Do you have any core things that really matter in your life right now?
So, big things with me is morals and values. Even when I was on the streets and in my heavy addiction, I kept a lot of morals and values. Respect
Mhm.
women, be polite, be intelligent, be great, and be respectful. And I know people are like, oh, you're homeless and you were doing drugs. How can you do all those things? It's just the way I was born. And when she was talking about putting those things in action and willpower, like I said, I'm a big stubborn guy. Some of the times I can be very stubborn, and I feel like I can handle a lot of stuff on my own. And and just to touch on the selfish thing, I always say the best me is best for everybody, or the best you is best for everybody. So that's such
Love that. Yes.
But I, for the longest time, I would bet myself that I wouldn't use that day.
Mhm.
That works for me.
You make a bet with yourself?
I make my bet.
Oh,
like,
cool.
bro, I bet.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
come on, how you? I bet you can't use the thing. Or yeah. And then I'm like, okay, fuck you. Like, yeah, I'll do that. So, and it worked. It really worked. It was
Yeah.
like that self control, something that I needed, and that was just one of many things that I need in my recovery. Is this, and when she was bringing up like actions and like, I think a lot of it is willpower, and a big thing you brought up was choice. Like, we go back out to
Mhm.
using at this point is a choice. We're
Mhm.
choosing to do that. Right now we're in recovery, we're sober, we are mentally capable. Well, I would say I statements. I am mentally capable of making a decision of if I want to go use or not, no matter what the situation is.
Mhm.
I can have a family member pass away. I can lose whatever opportunities I have. I can get a car, which happened to me. But then I make the choice to use. So understanding that, and then to bring up like learning from situations, understanding everything that you do, every single action that you have is something you can learn from.
Right.
Like, it's like, all right, I missed the bus. How can I get there earlier where that doesn't happen again?
Well, that happened today, right?
Yes, it did.
Right before the show?
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
I was
be
like,
sweating a little bit.
yes. I was like, okay, well, next time I'll go to the half an hour. It's ready to be early the next. So it's just learning from every situation. Like, if you relapse, learn what happened to make that, what made that happen. Like, even if it's something small, even if you don't think it matters, it does matter. So
Mhm.
I'm a big person in learning from every situation, and I'm happy to where I'm at right now. I wouldn't regret.
Well, and I'll put myself on the table too there, Terry, because I called you out. Sorry about that.
Yes.
So last week, my car was not acting right.
Not at all.
Car battery issues, and so I got here just in the nick of time. Well, that was with Sarah, but I reached out for rides. Now, here's what I was thinking. I'll just, I'll give myself an hour. I'll give someone an hour. That's plenty of time. That didn't work out. I
Yeah.
literally had 2 minutes before I had to be live.
Mhm.
Then, so this week, again, now my car's in the shop, so I'm gonna fix some issues. I got some assistants gonna help me,
Yep.
but they're not done with it. I don't know what's going on with it. I'm hoping to have it back soon. But I learned from that previous time when it came down so I made sure to ask a good friend.
Mhm.
2 hours. I'm gonna be 2 hours early,
Yep.
just because, like, yes, I might pre-plan and have everything ready to go, but life happens.
Life happens. Oh,
Always on its terms.
yes.
So just to be prepared, and like you said, I love that you said that, to just learn from that, and try to, better prepare myself for a next time.
Yeah. Not everything works out. You gotta understand that not everything works out.
No, and I also I just have to give you acknowledgement too. I love that you said. See, I'm trying to avoid the so there's just gonna be pauses.
I did too.
Pauses is probably
Yes.
better than the
Yes, I say and oh my god.
I like how you said, action. If you really want something, you're going to get there.
Exactly.
I easily could have said, oh, sorry, car isn't working. I'm not going to get to this meeting. Oh, sorry, I can't find a ride. I won't be there on time, so I'm just not going to come.
Yeah.
No. For me, my commitments are so important to me.
Means a lot.
One of my favorite quotes is something like, if you want to make a change, if you want to make a difference, all you have to be is what most people aren't. Consistent.
That's awesome.
So once I heard that, I go around saying, my word is my bond. Because for me, a big part of my character is I do what I say I'm going to do. I do what I say and I say what I do within reason.
Yeah,
I'm human.
yeah.
Shit happens.
Not super,
I'm not
superwoman.
going to ever be this perfect person. I've accepted that.
Mhm.
I do my best. And
Yes.
if it's in my power, some things just aren't in your power.
Yes.
Like especially when you're in court
Oh
or
God.
there's custody things, like it's not in your power. But those things that I do have control of, the wisdom to know the difference,
Mhm.
I will go above and beyond.
Yes.
And then at the end of the day, well, I did everything I could do, so now it's time to let go.
Let go
And,
see what happens. Hope for the best. Hope is a big thing too.
Yes. Okay, so let's just wrap up the willpower talk. So to clarify, the I will power is taking positive action. The I won't power is resisting impulses. And the I want power is the sense of core goals and values. And if I encourage you to continue listening to her video, because she goes on to say there's all this data research that says, well, you can run out of willpower. And she actually debates that, because these tests and all these like science things, data that they got from was based on people that were working.
Yeah.
They were, trying to quit things that they really didn't want to,
Yeah.
or didn't really like, or what, there was no heart in it.
Mhm.
And for me, I love that she said, something core important to me. I have tons of willpower for it. So many people are like, how do you do all these things? Because I want to.
Exactly.
Because they fucking matter to me.
Yes.
And I'm so passionate about it. Like so many people are like, oh, you're coming up with you're going to be burnt out. You're doing too much. Fuck that. Maybe you got burnt out.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just going to keep riding this train. And like at my work at MRC, I love that they totally like promote self-care.
Mhm.
They're all about it, because how can I be this full energy person? Like if I tap out and I run out, they want me to step back.
Yeah.
Because I'm not useful. If I get jaded,
Mhm.
I see that a lot happens with service. People get jaded. They're doing this now because they feel like they have to.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
It's a job at that point.
Yeah, if you
Shouldn't do
don't
that.
want to do it, don't do it. Because
Exactly.
you're giving off a really bad impression. And I'm sorry, but I gotta say, Terry, when I met you, just great energy from
Yeah.
you. But if you're giving off negative energy, a person gonna feel that.
Yeah, and they don't
Right
want to be
away.
around you. Like,
Right. You're not giving service the whole point of its purpose. So just take a step back and walk away.
mhm,
Go back to making coffee. That's all right.
exactly.
It's still, that counts as service. But if you're going to be there trying to connect with people and, show them the good side of recovery, like make sure you're good with you first.
Yeah, give
Be
it your
good with
all.
you.
Yeah.
Because you ain't going to be passing around. Don't pass around that negativity. Oh, I can't stand
Yeah.
that.
People
And
don't
yeah.
want to come back if that's the case.
Yeah.
They got to think about the whole big scheme of things. You put out something, everybody sees that, and you put out positive energy. Oh man, I want to be that. That's why I'm so attracted to you,
Yeah.
like because of your aura, how energetic you are. You make me want to like get up and be happy and move things. Like I got a soft spot for women, so with my mom and sisters and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So I can see a powerful woman and stuff like that, and it's cool. It's cool to see that people are like, oh, she's super gung-ho and stuff like that. I like that. Like if you're happy, we've had so much times being miserable and sad and upset.
Right.
I'm tired of that.
Right. And it's something for people to want.
Exactly.
I was that negative person in those rooms, and I would see these people laughing and happy, and I'm like, what the fuck are you so happy about? But deep down, it's because I wanted that. And I
Exactly.
wanted to find out how they did that. And like, again, I say talking about it is key.
Mhm.
And yeah, I rub people some wrong ways, like there's this great meme. I don't know if I brought it. I don't even know which memes I brought for you for that segment.
I'm excited.
It should be exciting. But something about like, if your light is bothering your spirit's bothering someone else, that's someone else with their own demons inside them,
Mhm.
because I do come off as very hyper and happy and positive, and sometimes I do want to punch myself in the face, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop because like that's just how I feel,
Yeah.
and I can read my room. Like I'll go into treatment centers like that, for me, that hits home,
Mhm.
and I'm not gonna be, oh, bubbly, happy,
Yeah.
happy.
'Cause
Like,
you've been there.
I've been there, but I'm gonna like gauge it back,
Mhm.
because I put myself back in their shoes, and I just naturally tone it down. And I think honestly, when I speak at treatment centers, I'm my most authentic self,
Yeah.
because especially I was stuck in those places.
Yeah, for a lot of
I
time.
could smell bullshit a mile away.
Easily.
And if you're not being honest, and you're saying you do these things and and you can be happy, and I am happy about them, but if you're harping these rules and certain ways you got to do it this way, like, I'm tuning out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
get away
Yeah,
from me with
yeah.
that.
I'm not
But if
gonna listen.
I just express like my honest self and some real shit, I feel like most of the time, I don't know, I just connect.
I mean, real recognize real, yeah.
Right. Oh my gosh, Terry.
Yes.
That alarm, I snoozed it. That was our second alarm. Let's go into the hot seat.
Ooh.
You ready for the hot seat?
Always. I was born.
Yes, might be burning. You
I
ready?
was born ready.
Okay. Now, keep in mind, you do not have to answer any of these questions.
Always,
At
but I will.
anytime, just share what you feel comfortable.
Of course.
But I do want you to keep in mind there might be someone out there asking themselves these questions.
Exactly.
So you might have the answer.
Ooh.
You ready? Question
Yes.
number 1. What's one thing you hope to never forget?
Where I've come from. And that is a very cliche answer, but
Explain it.
I've come from middle class, a lot of struggle, but a lot of great times too. But my biggest moments were obviously growing up, aging as an adult and being in my addiction. Like, when I make it to the point I want to make it to, which is high success, I got to remember that I was sleeping in a tent, freezing my ass off in the middle of the winter, using drugs to feel something and not freeze to death. So not forgetting where I come from is one thing that I'm never going to forget, because I have PTSD from it. And that, all those different anxiety and depression diseases, yes, they can affect us, but you learn to live with things. Like, a lot of my past are, and those mental illness comes from those situations. So I can't forget it even if I wanted to, but I use it as a great teaching moment, and humbling. It humbles the shit out of me. So
Yes.
exactly.
Well, and honestly, Terry, when I first met you, it was at the Walk for Recovery.
Yes.
You were such a kind person. Well, you just come up, you're just smiling.
I was so
and friendly.
happy.
And I'd been sitting in this booth by myself. Some of my friends stopped by, and I was definitely giving all this kinds of bracelets and buttons away. But I was alone.
Yeah.
And at the end of the walk, you just kindly came up and gave me a soda, cream
Yeah.
soda, which is my favorite.
Yes, I gave a lot of those.
And
I was
like,
very
who's
happy.
this guy? And you're just so outgoing and friendly, and you just give out this really great energy and aura
Thank you.
that immediately I'm like, okay, I got to know this person. I got to get him in my inner circle.
Yes, exactly.
Because especially when you say that you do service work,
Mhm.
that's where my go-to is now.
Yeah.
What was that? I shared it last week. You sit with the warriors and the conversation is different. So to make my point is, because service work is so important to me and I am so passionate about it. Anyone that's doing service work, I want you in my inner circle. I want to be able to have conversations
Exactly.
with, what works, what doesn't work, why you do it, why you love it. And I find that's, I feel like, what fuels my fire. Like, everyone's like, you're going to burn out, but I'm not. Why? Because I'm surrounding myself with like-minded people.
Yeah, and you haven't yet. So, I feel like that's negative energy. I'm happy going. Yes. Okay. I don't want to hear what you got to say. I'll listen.
Killers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to be happy. So,
yeah. Okay. That was good.
thank you.
Ready? Question
Yes.
number 2. What was your loneliest moment? And you can take a minute if you need to. But was there a moment that comes to mind that you feel like was your loneliest?
Yes, very much so. I had lost my phone when I was living in, and this goes back to the tent life. I learned a lot throughout those 5
How long
years.
did you
So
live in a tent?
the last place that I've literally rent was 2015, and I lost that apartment like 3 months after, heavy into my addiction. And then I was on the streets on and off treatments, jail, and stuff like that. And then the last 3 years, to about 4 months ago, 3 months ago, I was living in a tent because there's no rules. People can't tell you what to do, and people can't tell you to do drugs. But when you get home and the tent is home and you're the only one sitting in there and you're by yourself, no phone, there was a point where I had both a good amount of my drug of choice. I had them sitting in my hand, and I sat there and I was like, I'm not happy. This is not fun. My life, it's terrible. I don't have any contact with my family. I've lost all that trust. Like, I think I lost a significant other at that time. All these people around me are addicts and they're fake, and there's good people in that, but the people I surrounded myself was just bad aura. And I just remember sitting there like, I can't even get happy with what I feel is making me go on. And that was just a real awakening of like, this is the life you want. And I kept living it after that. Even when I understood that, I kept living that life because I was stuck at that point until I was able to truly get out of that stuff. And I'm still working on that every day. But yeah, that's going to always stick with me. It's like being in that tent, having those drugs, and still nothing was happening. I was not 1 ounce of happiness, not 1 ounce. I didn't feel human. It was a scary moment. It was a really scary moment. Like, that's when you get those suicidal ideations. And I'm big on mental health. If you feel sad and stuff, please talk to somebody. The hospitals are a lot of great, like I said, we have like a great opportunities in Minnesota. So I'm big on mental health. But yeah, I was very suicidal, reckless, and stuff like that. And it was a scary moment when you're by yourself. And there's a lot of people like that. And there's a lot of people suffering. And can't talk to anybody. So I'm a big advocate for homeless and addiction. That's what I want to do one day.
Absolutely.
So,
and it scares me too because it's getting cold out now.
Yeah.
And that's what's unfortunate is because of that stigma. I love her. Okay, I'm gonna go back to what you said earlier. Like, I might have been if anyone saw me and my outer person, they would make judgments, and yes, I did these things and I came off as this bad person, but like you said earlier, I was still a good person at heart.
Yeah.
Like, I still had morals. I think what Sarah said before, like the biggest like sin that I was having was I was going against myself.
Yes.
Going against what I knew in my heart wasn't right, mostly to punish myself and hurt myself. But at the end of the day, those things that I was doing for you to get what I wanted and needed, really the main person I was hurting was myself.
Yeah.
And then, yes, also with the mental health piece, of course, I think that it's so hard because there's a big ass stigma on that too.
Yeah, you feel weak.
That's what's so frustrating is I knew I needed help. I knew I needed, but because of those stigmas, I was scared to be honest about it. Because you get all those judgments. But yes, you're right. Absolutely reach out because there's people like me and you, Terry, that really fucking care. Just to care.
Genuinely.
Because we've been there.
Yes.
And we're extending our hand because we really want to.
Yes.
There's no transactional relationship here. I legitimately want to help you just to help you. Because that, thankfully, those few people did that for me.
So many people. Oh my God. Thank you. Shout out to all the people who.
But you don't know what you don't know, Terry.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you don't express that to someone, we can't help you.
Can't help you. You gotta advocate for yourself.
Voice it. Yes. Okay, let's jump into that was another live, Terry. We got 10 minutes and we still gotta do the memes.
I mean, great talks.
Yes. Well, yes, you're right. There is no time limit, but I do try to
keep it.
Try to follow some boundaries.
Yes, always.
Here we go. Last question. Have you ever reconciled with someone you were sure you'd never talk to again?
That's a great question.
You're smiling. Oh, geez.
The last one always gets you.
I encourage you to just try to pick one.
Yeah, because I have a lot.
But it would be someone that you never thought that you'd ever even talk to again. And you've reconciled, key.
Ooh.
Some sort of reconcile. Let's say that.
I really honestly there's a lot that I want to. There's really a lot that I want to, and there's that fear. Like, I'm a big, strong guy, and I get sad that I can't have those relationships with people. But yes, my best friend Dan, who, for the longest time, fed off him for money or for rides or for all these things. I was a real asshole person for taking and not giving nothing back. And mind you, he's sober, high school friend, and he's seeing his friend go down the downward spiral. So recently just got married. I cut my Facebook off and got a new Facebook, and
I've done that a few times.
I think a lot of people think I'm dead. So there's some people I just don't care for and don't figure out if they really care for me at all. But yeah, just being able to reach out and talk to him and still have that same bond that we had in high school and still have those laughs. There's still that distance, but I think as you get older, our circle gets small. Like, I would implore you that a lot of people, as you move forward, have true friends, people that you can call on and will actually be there. That's a small group, and that's not saying that's a bad thing at all. You can have big friends, but like, I find as you get older, my circle is small because a lot of people are busy. A lot of people do a lot of stuff, so it's hard to find time, and that's something I want to work on too. But yeah, that is a great question, because there's still a lot of people that I need to reconcile with, because A, they're great people, they help me out, and B, they're probably in the same position I am. They just can't reach out yet or want to say something. You got to initiate that too. Sometimes you got to just man up or woman up. So yeah, and thank you for bringing that up, because I'm gonna probably do some more.
And keep in mind too, I'm just gonna throw this out in left field. So for me, when I read this question, so there's people I've reconciled with, right? Made some type of amends with, right? But they're not in my fucking life no more.
Exactly.
Because for me, for what I've learned is, I knew I did something wrong.
Yeah.
Well, within me, I felt bad about it for whatever reason. So, and a lot of times they didn't want my amends. Like, get the fuck away from me, amends. I've heard your amends before, but that's the difference. Like, they weren't. So I did lots of apologies in the beginning. After so many reoccurrences, nobody gave a fuck about the I'm sorry, right? Apologies. I think the difference is amends is action.
Yep.
So, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that aren't ready for your amends, and so, and there's all different. There's 4 different kinds of amends that I didn't know about when I was trying to do this shit myself. 1 is direct. 2 is indirect. That could be like writing a letter. Or whatever, because these amends are for yourself, to forgive yourself. There's the in-kind amends, which we could talk about it at another time, but I love that one, because that one's when you sit down with your person, your sharing partner, your whoever's working that program with you, and you figure out a way, because some of these people might be dead. Some of these people might have up to move out of the country. Or some of these people are off Facebook and change their number, but you still need to let go. And so in kind amends, you can sit, there's lots of different ways to do it. I've heard some pretty funny ones that worked for them. That's what works. But it's sitting down with that person you trust and figuring those out, because you cannot keep them inside. But the last one is a living amends. And that one I find for me, just staying sober is a living amends to my children.
They see that. They see that. It's all like I did.
And those people that got all the I'm sorry's.
I had that with my mom.
I just stopped talking and I just started doing. And
people like, I have that with my mom. She's tired of I'm sorry or this, and I'm sober now. No, you have to put on years of continuous, like, the fact that she sees me doing this and going to service work, she's like, God damn, he's actually doing something. So it's all action stage, and I feel like that's where I'm at right now. And the biggest thing is doing it, like you said, doing it for yourself, because there's a lot of people who are going to doubt you. There's a lot of people who aren't going to believe anything you got to say. And most of the time, it's not for those people. It's for yourself. And if they are happy that you're doing, then the real people who need to be in your life are who understand you. So, like, at the end of the day, like, self-love, self-care, that's a big thing for us. So you got to do this for yourself to be able to do things for others.
Absolutely. Well said. Well, and again, the quotes. I'm just the quote fanatic. But
Gotcha.
actions speak louder than
Yeah,
words.
simple but
So
easy.
I like to be about it with anything. I just
Yeah.
I'm not a patient person anymore. I
Can't
don't
be.
sit and wait. If I got an idea or someone has this great idea about whatever, I just go do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to sit here and like overly think it, because a lot of times I used to overly it would seem too much, and I
Yeah.
talk myself out of it. So
Yep.
now I don't even think about it. Like if I know I can do it and I want to do it, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
So okay, so just so we make sure we have time for one of my favorite segments
Gotcha.
is. So I'm one of those weird people. When I finally get some me time and I'm laying in bed, I love to actually just go on like Facebook or whatever. I love
Scroll.
funny shit
Yeah.
or inspiring shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not shitting you. There's been a couple times. My daughter, we have sleepovers, and sometimes she'll be next to me, and I'm just laughing hardcore. Just one little,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Mom, God, what is so funny?" And I just can't stop.
Yep.
But it brings me a little want with that. So I want to spread some joy.
Exactly.
You ready for that?
Yes.
So it's live. I call it live Facebook, whatever. I'm going to flash you some memes that I've found on Facebook.
Mhm.
And like Facebook, I want you to respond, thumbs up or the care or love or laugh, whatever you respond. And then
Gotcha.
also if you would like to comment.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Yes. I'm
Okay.
a meme guy myself, so
Now, funny thing is my printer ran out of ink, but I don't think
it's all black and white.
no, some of the color pictures, it doesn't even matter about the
Okay,
picture.
okay.
So, but if you can see what the picture is, describe it just so the listeners have an idea
Yeah.
what I find funny. Whatever.
I probably know them, honestly.
You probably seen them.
Yes.
Here they are. Okay. The first one is probably one of my favorite ones, but you have to describe this one.
I got
There
you.
looks like there was some color left in my printer. This is probably the bitch that took out all my color.
It's very colorful.
Okay, so describe the first picture and then read that, and then the second picture and then read that, okay?
Okay. First picture is a man starting to put paint on his face.
White paint.
White paint on his face. It says, "No, bro, it's not time. No, bro, it's not time like last time."
No, bro, it's not like last time.
Oh, sorry, I cannot read.
It's okay.
Second picture, more makeup to his face over the white. Over the white is now
You
blue
probably already see where this is
eyeshadows.
going.
Yes,
It
he has
says-
red lips. I says, "I swear she's changed."
Third picture is
Next picture.
wig.
Rainbow wig. She's promised me it'll be different.
She promised me it'll be different.
Come on, man.
The last
And then
one.
the next one, full clown face. I
Full
think
clown.
full clown. I think we might actually have a future together. Oh, well, I'm that clown.
I don't mean to make fun of it, but I've been there,
That's so many
But
times.
everyone else, you saying these things, and everyone else sees what at the end of the thing happening.
You're a clown.
You're a clown.
You're a clown.
You're going in the
You
circus.
played yourself.
You just have to each their own, right? No judgments. Okay.
Relatable.
Okay, and like I said, some are funny and some are just, I thought they were awesome.
Yes. All right. It says people will talk behind your back. Don't worry. They are behind for a reason. Yes. I
Don't
like
you
that.
love that?
I love that.
I it's sad, but there are people that do that, I find. And whatever, I'll find out about it either way. But
Yep.
really, I got to reread it again, Terry, because I have to remind myself people will talk behind your back. Don't worry. They're behind for a reason.
Exactly.
And 99% of the time, it's something within themselves.
hmm
Why are you so worried about what I'm doing?
Exactly.
Why are you hating on me?
Yeah.
Look at yourself. What's going on there? You
Yeah.
know, and I'm a nice person.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, like I've heard things. If these people are someone that I thought we were friends,
hmm
I will casually just say, "Hey, what's going on? Is there something I need to know? Like,
Exactly.
what's going on?" I'll try to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Mhm.
The first time.
You want to see what's great in everybody, but yeah, some people can move around.
This is that thing where it looks like a weird blob.
That is Michael Scott, and it says you call it OCD. I call it put that shit back where you found it. And then the right
It's not
place,
OCD.
please. Oh God.
Everything has a place. Just put it back there. We won't have a problem.
Yes, I don't need you to mess it up for me.
Okay. Now I'm worried. I'm not seeing. Oh, hey, I see some comments. JP, what up? Shout out Hope Dealers.
Mhm.
Everyone else is anonymous, which is good. I see the love. Oh, Andrew's on there. Oh, Brian said hi to Brian. Brian's on there. Lauren, what's up, people?
Hello, everybody.
Show us some questions so we can interact, or feed me some of your wisdom, because a lot of these people in these rooms right now, right now,
Yes.
these things that I share that make me sound smart came from them.
Okay.
So I encourage y'all to participate so they can actually come from you, and I can
Anything.
share that live
Yes, exactly.
and record it. Okay, next one. I think this is funny.
Gotcha.
Creepy.
There's a guy looking over a wall with a big head like the dude from Home Improvement. Me reading messages via the notification bar, pretending to not be alone.
Online. Okay, I started
Being a
laughing.
creep.
My printer's so messed up. This is actually not a dude. That's Lady Gaga. It's my printer. And it says, it's her creeping over like a wall, and it says, me reading the messages via the notification bars and pretending not to be online. Do you do that, Terry?
Yes. When it says active, I'll be online though for 2 hours, but I'll put unactive. So
Right. Well, and then mostly it's just because I only had a couple minutes. I'm waiting for this appointment, or
Mhm.
I'm on my break at work, and sometimes there's an abundance of them.
Yeah.
And especially if there's like long messages, I want to respond, but I don't want to half-ass respond.
I know. Like,
So I
okay.
read it, and I know at the end of the night. So to anyone that I do that to, I'm sorry.
She does
will
message
get
you
a
at the end.
response.
Yeah, she will it's always at least 11:30. I'll message her at 10 in the morning. I'll get a full conversation at 11:30 at night. I appreciate it though.
But you get my response.
Yes, exactly.
And that's
So
because I care.
I know I'm
And I
special.
just don't want to be like, okay.
yeah, exactly.
I want to actually let you know I read you stuff.
Yeah, people have lives too.
Yes.
So you gotta do what you gotta
Unfortunately, mom doesn't get me time, so everybody else has sleeping
do. Exactly.
and don't need nothing. Okay, here we go. This one's, I like this one.
Mhm.
Meaningful.
There's a big elephant holding an umbrella over a cat.
Cute little
I
cat.
know. I'm not interested in whether you've stood with the great. I'm interested in whether you've sat with the broken. Ooh, I like that a lot.
that.
I like that a lot. Not hurt people, but people who seem to be, who've gone through a lot, who are like I say, hurt people seem to be the strongest most of the time. Yes, like
Mhm.
I relate more to people who are damaged, and I'm putting my fingers with quotations.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's the relatable factor. It's where you come from. I can't really be around people who are super rich, had no struggles in their life, because I can't feel that realness or greatness. Not saying anything against anybody like that, but it's your preference. But I understand it a lot.
Well, yeah. And like, that's why I cling to brokenness, because that was me,
Mhm.
and okay, I'm not trying to make humor of this, but one of the treatments that I was at, a client came in. No, I'm in treatment, so they would have been my fellow patient.
Yes.
And she was like,
buddy.
man, I don't recommend trying to date while you're in treatment. That's hard. But she was trying to
Fairview
date, and
Riverside?
she's doing online stuff, and she's like, I just feel bad though, because like I don't want them to know this side of me. Like I don't want them to know this broken person of me, because like I feel like it's a bad thing, and they're just gonna look at me bad. So I said, she's a female, so like I could put it on the other perspective, and I said, honestly, when I'm trying to meet a dude,
Mhm.
I want him to be broken. I don't want him to catch him in this broken state.
Yeah.
But the fact that he tells me he came from a broken home, because I came from a broken home, or he had a struggle in his life, I immediately cling to that person,
Yep.
because I'm like, oh, we're gonna get along just fine. I think
Exactly.
someone that's had no issues, real struggles or anything, like I'm not gonna vibe with them.
Yeah. And
I'm not gonna feel open with them.
Exactly.
So I like us misfits. We need to stick together
Mm-hmm.
or date each other.
Yes.
Whatever. If you're gonna date someone, I don't know. I for me would prefer to date someone that's kind of had a little bit of some experience with some struggle.
Exactly. I mean, it's strong. Straight up, it's strong. You become a strong person.
Okay, we could go off on a tangent on that
Yes.
one, but there's some unwritten rules. I say this all the time for a good reason.
Yes.
Okay, next one.
Locking your car doors at a light because someone on the Someone on the corner looks shady or crazy, then worry that they heard doors lock and you are hurting their feelings.
Oh my gosh, I do this. I
North
have a
Minneapolis
friend-
all the time.
Yes, Minneapolis.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I felt bad because this happened. So it was like 1:00 in the morning. I dropped
Oof.
this person off,
Mhm.
right? And I pull up and I wait at the stoplight and I hear, hey, hey. Like, I look the fuck over. I'm like, I hit the lock button. I know he heard it. So you'll go give me a ride? I'm like, no.
Oh, no,
I was
you.
like, I gave him the peace sign.
Yeah.
I'm like waving. No, sorry. I shook my head. I
Can't
felt
do it.
bad.
I mean,
Like, it's nothing personal, but
No.
you yelling at me at 1:00 in the morning on a corner. I'm not giving you a ride,
it's
and I'm
how you
locking my
present
doors.
yourself. Like, you're going, I'm sorry, but
It's a
nothing
little
good
scary.
happens after that time.
If it's
Yeah.
daytime, no, I think I would still lock the
Probably
damn
still
door.
lock them doors.
Why are you yelling at me? All right, here's the,
All right, so it's a very colorful picture. It
it's
looks
blurry.
like
I'm
leaves.
sorry.
All right, it's good. Be so completely yourself that everyone else feels safe to be themselves too. It's the comfortability factor. People
Mhm.
draw to. So I find this as a superpower. I'm very confident in everything that I bring out in the world because I wasn't that for a long time.
Mhm.
So if you could call it cocky or anything, but
I call it
people-
confident.
you're confident. People listen to when I talk. People are good around me and comfortable around me because I'm a comforting person. You know,
Mhm.
people see me as a bigger dude, but I've talked to people who's like, "Oh, you were super intimidating when I saw you, but you're a really laid down person." Because I am. Like, you got to meet somebody and talk to somebody, but I'm super comfortable, super relatable because I've seen every aspect of life,
Mhm.
rich, poor, all that. I have black, white friends. I have so many different types of people, so
Mhm.
I'm able to immerse myself in every crowd, and
Yeah.
that comfortability factor. You being real, people understand that. You know,
Yes.
fake people shouldn't be around you anyways.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, and just that empathy.
Mhm.
Okay, because like I went to this awesome writing your recovery
Yes.
story retreat thing.
That was her weekend,
That was my weekend. I
Mhm.
forced myself to do some self-love, self-care thing.
which is awesome.
And yeah, it was, I have some anxieties about that, being away from home, not sleeping in my own bed.
Of course,
Luckily, I found an app that does the white noise machine that helped.
that's awesome.
But it's writing your story. Okay. So I didn't really read into what that meant. I was
Mhm.
just excited to put something on paper because when I share, my story,
Yeah.
kind of can go all over the place. There's a lot to my story.
Yes.
And just trying to get some condensed, concrete thoughts in words,
Mhm.
I jumped to.
Yeah.
Okay. And I like jumping into things that, reasonably I know are safe and
Mhm.
make sense. So anyway, it was like a test because I didn't know anybody there.
Yes.
But
of
I've
your
heard
comfort
lots
zone.
of great things about the retreat.
Mhm.
I'll have another show just on that place alone.
That's awesome.
Shout out to Jake.
I'll be listening.
He's a New York. He was from New York, editor, professional editor. So the thought, it was great because it forced me. I can never sit and just write about myself. Like, I'm a huge procrastinator.
Yeah.
And B, I go into La La Land. Well, he was really great because he gave us these writing prompts,
Mhm.
real simplified one. I need that.
Yeah.
But also like deadlines. Really, they were
You gotta
short.
get this done.
Well, at first, the first one was where you were at. So it's the experience, strength, and hope piece, right? So
Mhm.
where you were at, how it was like before, right? And he's like, you got 300. Don't go over 300 words. I'm like, yeah, right. I'm going to try.
300.
But I'm typing them out and the new word, whatever. I went way over.
Yeah.
So it was good because he said, don't do that. Make sure it's this because he's got to edit all of ours
it's a
within
lot
a
of
certain
people.
amount of time before this weekend, right?
Mhm.
So I loved having those deadlines.
Yeah.
And what was mind blowing, so you share your experience, what happened, and I've never been able to fully grasp it. Like I would explain that moment.
Yes.
That moment when something happened and it clicked for me. So I got to do that. And then the end was where you're at now.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful to have this person and hear other people's stories too. Oh my gosh. It was, I still haven't had time to process everything.
Yes, that's
And
awesome.
so I'll have to talk about it later. I met some wonderful people from Jersey, from Chicago, all in different places in
I'm
the
jealous.
recovery where they're at. But yeah, I'll share what I came up with. This is good shit. I don't even remember what the point was. I was going with it, but where was I going with that? Where did that
Being your real
conversation
self. No,
start?
we were talking about your weekend though. They just
Well, yeah, and just because there's still a lot of myself that I don't even know.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in a good place, but when I have to think about that first part of it, that dark place,
Mhm.
it's still hard. But it's key to have people around me.
Yeah.
But I hate saying A, B, and C. I'm going to be done doing that.
Mhm.
It was important that I knew I had people around me, people in recovery
Yep.
that I could totally feel safe with and share my shit with.
Yep.
And then so I could go into those dark places and be okay and not. Let's go on to the last one. You're going to love this one. This is my favorite one. Ready?
Yes. Had the 13th step is step 1 plus step 12. My life is unmanageable, and I'd like to share it with you. Oh, the dreaded 13th step.
Oh, the 13th
God.
step. That's again another show. But here, I got to reread
Yes.
this because this is my favorite. When people, because I did this.
Mhm.
My last relationship did not work out well for me for
Several-
many reasons. It
several
wasn't
times.
just that, but we were both in recovery.
Mhm.
We met.
Yep.
Ooh, that's a flag right there. I should have been working on myself and healing. But I was lonely, Terry.
Yeah, I mean, people
I
want
was
to be
sad.
comfortable. The opposite sex seems a lot more attractive when you don't have
But you
it.
can hang out with people.
You can.
I don't recommend going into full-blown relationships. So it says the 13th step is step 1 plus 12, which, by the way, there is no 13th step. Let's just put
Yeah,
that
yeah,
on
let's-
air.
yeah,
There
because
is no 13th
It's
step.
not in the book.
And what the 13th step is, my life is unmanageable, and I'd like to share it with you.
Yes. You want to.
So I'm a mess, and you're a mess. Let's just be a mess together, and I think that might work out. Or not.
Does it? Like, I mean,
Does
I've seen
it
some
ever?
relationships. I have seen some, but it does
Where did that
not
start,
really.
though? Because the ones that I do see do hold up in the recovery community. You know, they've been together a long time,
Mhm,
and
yeah.
they kind of found each other at the moments that worked out. And I don't think it can't happen. I
Yeah.
think it definitely can. But when, first of all, I'm not the person you want to ask for relationship advice.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm taking this year, especially, to really be in a relationship with myself
Mhm.
because I'm healing and I'm really digging into some deep shit.
Yeah.
And I love it because I don't feel this pressure from someone else who's trying to get to know me when I don't even know me.
Yeah.
I mean, I do.
But you're
But-
still trying to find the real you, and that's when a lifetime of half my life has been spent. Most of my adult life has been spent as an addict. So I still struggle with figuring out who am I, like what person I
Yes.
am. Am I faking it and not really this person? But I think that's the fun and the joy of
Well,
life.
and it's always like, for me, it's always kind of changing,
Yeah.
you know, as I'm growing and learning
Yeah.
more, and like, I'm still figuring that out. Like, I feel like, you know, I like the idea. So when I get asked, you know, do you think I really like this person? I want to, you know, well, first of all, I gotta say, don't move in together,
Mm.
but I want to start seeing this person. I say, well, Terry, let me ask you this. If you ask someone, should I do this? Or I want to do this, and they tell you no, what does that make you want to do?
If it's a close person,
Like, if you're like, I want to go play tennis, and I'm like, Terry, no,
then I'm gonna
I don't
go
think
do
you
it.
should go play tennis. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna go play
wanna
tennis.
go play some
Yeah.
fucking tennis,
You're not gonna
right?
tell me what to do. So
So these friendships, sometimes, you know, let's say I want to go date, whatever, or I want to be in this, start this thing with this person. I do not say, well, I don't recommend doing that. You know, look at my mistake. Look at the things you hear me talk about.
Yeah.
But, you know, every person's different. I just say, well, how about just date?
Yeah.
Just date. Hang out with that person. Get to know that person. Don't throw any labels on it.
mhm.
Don't, you know, change your status on Facebook. You're in a relationship.
Please
Because
don't do
right there, you're setting yourself up for some expectations.
that. Yep.
So, yes, date.
Yeah.
I encourage you to get to know more people.
hmm
But I always tell them, like, check in with me, though. Like, if something feels off, come to me if you want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
not going to judge you. I say do it. Just if you're feeling off, like me and Sarah talked, there's a flag. It doesn't have to be a red flag. It just is a warning flag.
It's a little something in your ear.
Tell on yourself.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's just gauge it. Let's see where it's at. Okay. So we are over the time as usual. Terry, is there any final thoughts? Any wrap up things you want to talk about? We're way over. I have a final quote
Okay.
that we'll end it with.
So I just want to give out to the world is please get out into the community. I know that the homeless community could use a lot of help with just people being there to talk to them. I encourage people to talk about their mental health, suicide awareness, all of that. Just talk, be open with people. You don't have to trust everybody, but I'm a big advocate, and I want to do that one day as a counselor and maybe a politician, but advocate for the homeless, advocate for us, because we are a marginalized group, and there's a lot of great people in there, and they just need
Yeah.
a chance. So I'm a big person about just helping others. Please, give back in any way possible. Talking to somebody is a big thing. So
Wonderful, Terry. And if you could, because this is recorded and it'll be on YouTube later, but if you can go on there later in the comments, maybe throw up some links or some resources, especially with the homeless community, anything that
I definitely will.
people can touch out
I got
and or even service work or any
Yep.
of the things that, I mean, you already put it out there. Actually, that first part wasn't on air. I don't know if they got that, but you
Yeah.
do volunteer work, 2218 desk work. If you walk into 2218, you go to anyone at that front desk and say anything, we got resources.
a lot.
Whether you're having certain thoughts,
Mhm.
whether you want to do service work, whatever, talk,
Yes.
tell someone.
Advocate for yourself.
You make that little step to just voice that.
Hmm.
You do have people like me and Terry,
Yes.
and lots of people that work at all the places Alan owns that do genuinely care
Yes.
and will do something.
Always.
And don't, if there's that one person that didn't, you don't hear back from, hit up someone else.
Yeah, that's someone else.
Because I promise, like, if you want it, if you really want, that's at the end of the day when I made that choice myself.
Mhm.
And when I said, no, damn it, I'm doing this thing, I put all that stuff I did before to get what I wanted,
Yeah.
my DOC or alcohol or whatever.
Mhm.
I would put all full effort into that. Well, I use that energy now. I use that persistence now for my sobriety.
Yes, it's key.
So try to flip it like that. Like, I want help.
Mhm.
Come see us.
Yes. And there's
Comment
a lot.
on
There's a
here.
lot of people.
Email me.
Mhm.
Message me. Walk into 2218 or
Yes.
Fridley Allen or Blaine Allen. Like, we're here.
Mhm.
Come find us.
Yes, and we're usually friendly all the time.
Most times. Otherwise, just need a little more self-care.
Exactly.
Self-love.
Might need coffee too. So we'll see.
Probably coffee. Oh,
Mhm.
yes. Coffee's that's another addiction, but we won't go into that.
Yes.
All right, Terry, you ready for the last quote?
Always.
It's been such a pleasure having you.
Thank you. Anytime.
Yeah, and I welcome the positive energy.
Yes.
We positive
You're
energy
gonna
people
get that
got to
with
stick
me.
together.
Mm-hmm.
Because but also take some time too, because like I feel like you bring out, I get a little too cheesy and a little too full energy, but
Yeah.
it's good, right?
Yeah.
And you can take space for me if you get a little overwhelmed. Like, Rachel, I'll see you.
need it. I
Let's say
need it.
Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. We'll hang out again.
Okay.
Okay. All right, here it goes. Final quote. Some of the best advice I've been given: don't take criticism from people you would never go to for advice.
Yeah.
Do you like that?
I love that. Yes.
Why do you give a shit what these people think about, let alone, you wouldn't go to them for advice? Like,
Yeah.
why do you care what they think then?
Exactly. Like.
Don't waste your time or your heart on that, because you're going to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wouldn't go to, say, your mom or your brother or
A toxic person.
any toxic
Mhm.
person for advice, don't look to them for any kind of feedback.
Yeah.
It's those are dark cloud people. I refer to them as dark cloud people.
Mm-hmm.
But like you, Terry,
Yeah.
or any of my friends in recovery, my family in recovery, because I respect their opinion, because I love them as a person, those are the people that I go to for advice.
Yeah. You don't have to always agree with it either,
Yes.
but just listen to it and
Agree to
trust.
disagree.
Exactly.
So, okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I feel sad always at the end of this, but we're
I
going to
know.
close it, wrap it up. Everybody have a good night. And I would like suggestions for next week's path, because I have not actually thought about it yet. I've had no fucking time, Terry.
Yeah.
So if you
Seriously,
got
she's
a
busy
path that
woman.
works for you, hit me up. Let me know. We will talk about it next week. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Love you.
Peace out.
Peace
Thank you,
out.
everybody.